You're listening to The Beat 139, Harlem's #1 podcast, featuring Doc, Don Vito, and Keith Cash.
139.
Yo, what up?
Yeah.
What's good?
It's that time. Y'all know what it is.
B139 family.
Beat 139. Welcome to the Beat 139 of Doc Shake the Block.
Don Vito, voice of the peoples. Before we start the show, I want to let y'all know we supposed to have Bimmy on tonight, but he called that something came up, emergency, so he couldn't make it tonight. So I guess we'll get him at another time, something like that. Without further ado, Doc, bring the guests in, brother.
We got my boy Harlem in the building. Watch this man. This man, hard working, man. Figga Digga is in the building.
Oh,
what's good, y'all?
Yo, what up, Six Figure?
Yeah.
Super producer in the building.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, we heard a lot about you, man. You know, you're responsible for a lot of people's careers, man. Let's talk about it, Doc.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the beginning. See, one thing I said I got to get my boy up here, man. And I saw you, I said, wow, we definitely gotta get him up here. We had everybody up here from Harlem represented. Definitely. And a lot of people don't know your work, man. Your body of work is crazy. So, but we're gonna start from the beginning to get people the real background. Like,
right.
So for the people comes, a lot of people are citing the hear that you was gonna be on the joint.
Okay.
You don't really do many interviews, right?
Nah, not at all. But y'all, it's Harlem, so I had to step in on this one.
Appreciate you for that, my brother. I did a little homework on you as well, and I watched the interview with Jim Jones on Drink Champs.
Yeah, of course.
And he gave you your props, man.
Definitely.
He said that you are one who made the Dipset Diplomats logo.
Definitely.
He said that you did all the tracks, you know what I'm saying, from them back in the days.
Yeah.
And, this is like Harlem history. And like Doc said, we trying to get your story out there so the people could know, because a lot of people probably don't even know that. You know what I'm saying, Digga?
Yeah.
So talk about it, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, the story pretty much starts, I grew up in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Esplanade Gardens.
Okay, shout out to Esplanade.
And pretty much I think my uncle. I think my uncle was actually on your show, Al Cash.
Yeah, they was on here.
Yeah.
The Ruckers, Al Cash, and Duke Tango, they was on here.
Yeah, definitely.
And JR. God bless
him. JR, yeah, my
right
cousin.
after he came on the show, bro.
Yeah, definitely, man. Rest in peace to my cousin JR too, man.
Word.
So yeah, it pretty much started from there. My uncle Al Cash, he was part of the Disco Ford, one of the first, rap groups in Harlem. Mm-hmm. And under him, I just watched him, DJing and doing his thing and making records. So after that, I was just a little dude. He taught me how to DJ. I took his record collection, and then I just started trying to do my thing. And then, me and Cameron, my childhood friend, pretty much from like six years old, me and him used to ride the school bus together. That's how we met. And we just started playing basketball together, doing everything, and the music was just the next phase of what we was doing, So I initially started rapping, but, I needed beats to rap to. So my grandpops used to always tell me like, yo, you should be behind the scenes, man. That's where you actually make the money. You know what I mean? So I started to learn how to DJ and make my own beats. And then me and Cam used to just, play around, making little tapes here and there. And then when his cousin Bloodshed, he actually joined us too when we became teenagers. And we just started making music and, around the hood. And then from there, it was just like, rapping in school and going down, different parts of going to the west side, the east side, meeting people who rap, battling people, listening to their demo tapes. Finally, when we ran into, to Big L, and before he even got signed, and when him and Cam kind of, everybody knew each other, but nobody knew that we actually did music. So that was like the first introduction. Like that was like, yo, Cam, I didn't know you used to, did music. And he's like, yeah. So he started taking a liking to Kim, and then he started bringing us around. He introduced me to L, and kind of that's what really started us from being, you know, just not really taking it serious to actually thinking that this could be a career. So when we seen Big L get his deal with Columbia, and you know, he was on the block, and then all of a sudden he went from the block to making videos and shit like that. So we definitely wanted to take it serious at that point.
Hey, Digga, let me jump in right quick. Hold on for a minute.
Yeah, definitely.
So you say you and Cameron was playing ball back in the days before y'all got to the music, correct?
Yes.
Because one I heard about Cam, I heard Cam was pretty nice on the basketball court. Was you pretty nice on the basketball court too?
Yeah. I played like Cam, like we all played high school. Well, I played high school ball. We actually went to school together, you know, elementary school together, and then we went to high school together at Central Park East, on 106 in Madison, and he transferred to Manhattan Centers. But I used to play with the Mustangs with Tony Rosa, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah,
And
Tony Rosa.
Yeah, you know, so I played with Tony Rosa for much of my life with, you know, with the Young East tournament and Mustangs, and Cam was playing with, you know, Gauchos and Riverside, Young Life and all of that. So, you know, everybody, we definitely had the hoop dreams, but mostly while, you know, he was playing ball, taking it serious, that's when I was going home doing the music, you know what I'm saying? And my mom's was buying me a piece of equipment. You know, every Christmas I would get something new. So, you know, I got my turntables first, then I got a little Casio keyboard, then I got a little drum machine, and then, you know, my 4-track, and then I had a little makeshift studio in my bedroom. So, and that's when we just, you know, started making our demos. Like, it used to be a point when Cam was playing ball, and I used to like physically have to grab that nigga off the court. You know what I'm saying? Just to come to my crib, because I wanted to make music that bad that I used to make him miss games and everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I used to do. So, you know, it was kind of that whole, you know, the hoop, playing ball, and the music kind of go hand in hand.
But you know, it's funny, bro. It's funny you tell that story because I remember y'all used to come to the block, you had your little basketball stuff on, and Cam always, you know, played ball. So the story you told is crazy. Like when y'all came to the block, and we never knew Cam rap. We like
Right.
Cam said, "Yo, Doc." He said, "Yo, Doc, you know who nice?" He said, "Cam." I said, "Cam," because you know I used to coach Cam. You know when I had my little side teams and
Right.
shit, and he's like, he said, "Yo, this nigga nice with the beats." Told me that you was nice with the beat. Did you do American Dream beat?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I was like, because you always was like laid back, quiet. You come to the block, you chill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had the little curls with the sharp line and shit. But yeah, so when I heard that beat, I'm like, damn, homie, nice. And my phone. I was like, yeah, homie, nice. Digga is nice with the beats. So you definitely was way ahead. That American Dream beat was crazy. Was that your first beat you did?
That actually
got you out there.
Yeah, like honestly, like I mean, I was you know, I was making a bunch of beats at that time. You know, we was making a bunch of songs, but that song actually started. It started out with me, Cam. You know, I did the beat. Cam was on it, Mace was on it, and Bloodshed was on the song originally. And L heard the song and he was like, "Nah, this shit is fire." And he pretty much said, "Yo, like let us all get on this joint." You know what I mean? Because it's that fire. And that was really my first professional. That's the first beat I ever got paid for from Big L. You know what I'm saying? Like he went to Columbia, said, "Yo, we need to go get them in the studio, put the whole Children in the Corn on there." And that's how, you know, McGruff jumped on it and L jumped on it, and we did the remix. I think I got paid like $1,500 for the beat at that time. And that was my first like professional check from this shit.
But you know it's crazy that you say that, right? That's one thing I always tell people about Big L. He always made sure people gonna get this. He made sure, like, he went to Columbia and made sure, no, we got to do this, do that. And like he really wanted everybody as a team, like all y'all who do the music, to really come up. That was his thing. He always told me, like, yo, well, so he wanted you to be a producer, have like Cam, just like before Mace was like serious.
Right.
Shed, Gruff, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Really want to push that.
Nah, it was never no funny style with L, not like at all. Like with the music, like, you know, it's like I remember several times, like even outside of that, like he used to call me like, yo, come to my crib, to go to his apartment and just play him beats. And you know what I'm saying? At that time, you know, again, like this, if you could put yourself in my position, like, you know, he was the one with the major label deal. You know what I'm saying? So he was definitely not acting like it. You would think like, yo, I'm getting signed. You know, I'm off to the races. I'm about to go get Pete Rock or what, you know, somebody else. But he was never on that. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely gave me my first opportunity with that, for sure.
Hey, champ. So where did you get that name Figga Digga from? Who gave you that name?
So Figga Digga, you know, actually, you know, for a long time, my name was just Digga. Like, you know, at that time, you know, we was trying to come up with crazy names. That's why at that time, you know, you had Murder Mace, you had Killer Cam, you know what I mean? So I was like, yo, I need a crazy name. And I think it was actually Grave Digger at first. He's like, nah, that shit is whack. I ain't gonna be like the Grave Digger. You know what I'm saying? So cut the grave part off of it and just was Digger at that point. But then, you know, honestly, I was kind of ahead of my game, and my grandfather always instilled in me like, yo, just have your own shit, start your own label or whatever. So even at that time, early on in 94, 95, I started Six Figure Entertainment, my own company at that time. So it just had a good ring to it between, you know, me calling my name being Digga and my label being called Six Figure. So people used to just say it, Six Figure Digga. And that's how it came, you know, about.
So where did you get the how I'm gonna say this? Where did you get the idea to make the Diplomats logo? And who came up with the name Diplomats?
So actually this is, you know, long story short, you know, at that time, you know, bringing back to what 97, 98, you know, a lot of stuff, everybody had their little cliques and their crews. So this is, you know, we had No Limit, Cash Money, you know, Rough Riders, Rockefeller, West Coast or whatever. So we knew, you know, everybody was kind of branding their own little clique at that time. So we knew that we wanted to have our own crew, you know what I mean? But we wanted to kind of figure out how to do it. So instead of, at that point, we had a lot of rap groups was like in different regions. So, you know, people was from LA, people was from Chicago, from Louisiana, New Orleans, they was from Brooklyn. So we was like, yo, what if we had a crew, but we, instead of just having them coming from the same neighborhood, why don't we just grab up different people from different parts of the state, you know, different states? You know what I'm saying? And we actually did that. Like we was recruiting different artists. We had a dude named Larceny from Florida. We had this kid named Dirty Red from Detroit. We had another artist, I can't forget their name, from LA. So we had these artists from different parts of the United States. So with that being said, we said, yo, we have the Diplomats. You know what I'm saying? The same way, you know, you look at the Diplomats be representing different parts of the country or different parts of the states. So Jimmy actually came up with the name Diplomats. You know what I mean? So that's how we came up with the name.
Correct?
Huh?
Talking about Jim Jones?
Yeah, so Jim Jones. Yeah, Jim Jones, he's the one that came up with the actual name. You know, we all collectively came up with the concept initially to have everybody, different rappers and different artists from different states. So after that, that's when I was like, well, if we got this name, we got to have a logo. You know, we got to have something that's going to be impactful, you know. And one of my main inspirations, of course, was definitely the W from the Wu-Tang Clan logo. I just thought that was like, that shit was just legendary at the time, because when you saw that, you know what I mean? That one, a few cool logos. At that time, I think like Onyx. It was a few different logos that stood out to me, Public Enemy or whatever. And just one day, and like I think we was at like we was in DC and Teen Summit, performing at Teen Summit one day and in DC. And I was like, yo, we went to the store. I said, yo, why don't we just do this? Like we got the Diplomat name. We just take the emblem of the actual bird of the United States, but we just gonna gangsterfy it, put the Diplomat, words across it, put some guns in it, and it's gonna represent all of the different states in different barrels or whatever we representing. And that was pretty much how I came up with that. Came home, drew it up, went in my basement. I had the silk screen, at that time in my basement, made t-shirts and made, scarves and all that, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's big right there.
Yeah, that's a good story right there, man. Call us calling. Hold up. 646-628-4264. 646-628-4264. We got Figga Digga.
Word.
You said earlier you was rapping first and then you start producing. Now,
I can't hear. Say that again. I can't hear you.
Did you ever have the urge to get back on the mic now that shit moving?
Nah. I never really got the urge to get on the mic because I was really honing my skills at production, and I was much more skilled in that level, and also to me it took me too much time to write. You know what I mean? Like I ain't have enough time to be making beats and writing at the same time. I wish I could, if I could do it faster at that time I would have, but just everything started happening so fast. And I was just mainly and plus just my demeanor, like you said, man, I'm real laid back dude. I just want to make the music and all that. I ain't with all the foolishness. So, that's just how it happened.
But it's crazy. I always thought you was Greg Maris' son.
Yeah. People,
I always thought you was Greg Maris' son. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
Cash.
Right. Nah, definitely. I mean, that's how it was because people knew I had a relative in Rucker, and that's just what people thought, which was true, but it just wasn't him.
Oh, we got a caller.
Caller,
what's
your name? What's going on?
Yo, this is Artie Don, baby. What's good?
Artie Don.
Turn that up. Y'all turn that up.
Turn it up, man.
Too low over here.
Go ahead, Artie.
Caller, what's your name? What's going on?
Yo, this is Artie Don, baby.
What up? Talk to Digga.
Yo, man, can I ask you a question? Digga, you a legend, right?
I guess that's what they call me.
Yo, I'm catching feedback right now.
Talk to Digga.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Go ahead, just talk, Artie. We got you.
Just talk. Or yo, yo, man, I'm just gonna say this, man. I ain't gonna die. Yo, I'm proud of you, B. That's what I'm gonna say to you, man.
Good looking, man.
Nah, I'm gonna just tell him, man, I'm proud of him, man. I ain't got nothing else to say, B. You know what I mean? Keep doing what you're doing.
All right, good looking. Thanks.
Thanks for calling in, caller. Appreciate you. So, Digga, let me ask you a question. So, once you made the logo and y'all running around with the t-shirts and the bandana, how did y'all feel about it? What was the movement after that?
I mean, the movement was tough. Like when you do things, we all got good ideas. You know what I'm saying? But until people actually see the vision, people don't really believe in that shit. You know what I'm saying? So when we kind of brung the brand to life, everybody believed in it. And at that time, I was signed to as well as a producer. Cam was signed to Entertainment as an artist. So me and him was always fighting them, to kind of do certain music. Cause this is 98, 97, 98. This is when Bad Boy was killing it. Mace was killing it. Biggie, he had just passed away, but the music style was just like kind of commercial.
That's Rivera from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, I'm Rivera from Brooklyn, you know, so Biggie's partner. So at that time, you know, everybody was kind of chasing that Bad Boy success. You know what I mean? But me and Cam was like, yeah, nah, like we knew what was happening on the streets, you know, as far as like, especially in the tunnel and the clubs. And, you know, that's why our first two records that we released was like 357 and Pull It, which featured DMX. And those records was like ringing in the tunnel in all the nightclubs at that time. You know what I mean? So collectively with the music being hard like that, and then people seeing the brand and seeing the movement just starting, we knew we had something.
So American Dream was your first commercial beat.
Yeah.
That's for the public. What was your next beat that you dropped? That public.
Shit, like after that, we see what happened. What we had American Dream. So American Dream featured Cam, Bloodshed, Mace, McGruff, and Big L. But at that time, McGruff was signed to Uptown Records. L was signed to Columbia, and then Mace had actually was signed to Bad Boy. But Cam, me, and Bloodshed wasn't. We actually had a record deal with a company called Freeze Records, but it wasn't a major label. You know what I mean? But it was actually Freeze Records was the same label that Jay-Z and Rockefeller did a deal with to put out Reasonable Doubt. So we was literally on the same record label with Jay-Z at the same time. So we were working on an album at the same time when Jay was working on Reasonable Doubt, and then Bloodshed got killed in a car accident. And that kind of like, you know, me and Cam was kind of messed up. We didn't know what we was going to do. We had a record label, you know, record deal, but we didn't know because we was a group and we was no longer a group. But fast forward, to answer your question, luckily we still got, you know, Cam got signed. Biggie wanted to sign him, and he, you know, Blood and Biggie died the same month in March. So, you know, luckily Un still wanted to sign Cam, and he gave both of us a deal. And then the next commercial release was actually for me was probably 357 and Pull It. Those two records came out, and that was like my first official release on Cam's album.
So who did you make that beat for Horse and Carriage?
Nah, I didn't make that. That was the Track Masters. I did 9 songs on Cam's first album, Confessions of Fire, but I didn't do that one.
So now y'all there, and you part owner of the Dipset. When you start branching out doing beats for other people, how that works? Do you have to give money back to like Cam, or it's separated? How that works?
Nah,
like,
I mean,
for other artists, doing beats for other artists.
Yeah, well, when we started the movement, like when we started Diplomats and Dipset at that time, it was pretty much, you know, not really a label at that time. It was pretty much like a movement, a brand. So we didn't have no obligations. Like, you know, at that time it was just me and Cam pretty much musically. So, but I didn't have, like, when I was doing stuff for different artists, that was just me working in the same way Cam was doing features with other artists. Like he was on doing stuff with the Locks and Fat Joe being on their albums like Band for TV and Noriega and stuff. And then I was doing stuff with him or without him. You know, I was actually doing at that time I was probably placing beats. I think I did a record with Jay and a few others. So, but no, yeah, it wasn't like we kind of I got money and blessed it down at that time at all.
So even though y'all was still together, it seemed like y'all was doing a little side project and stuff like that. Did y'all was stay bonded as friends?
Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, honestly, to keep it 100, you know, that's kind of why me and him, we kind of went in our separate directions, you know, because we just had, you know, a different vision business-wise, you know, how we wanted to move, or at least how I wanted to move. Like, speaking for myself, like, you know, music was my that's what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I dreamed about doing. So when I got my opportunity and my shot, you know, I ain't want to fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like certain things was happening in that time. And, you know, we just kind of like, you know, just went our separate ways. Like, you know, I just felt like, you know what? If y'all want to do it like that, take the Dipset stuff, y'all do it, and I'm gonna just do my music over here, you know, and that's really what happened. You know what I mean?
So that's the all that was on the first album, or you was with him
What?
on the second album too?
Yeah, I did his first album, Confessions of Fire, did 9 songs on that, and then I did his second album, SDE, Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment, and I did 11 songs on that album. So I did Let Me Know on that album, you know, Losing Weight with Prodigy, Double Up with Jewels. I mean, you know, got a lot of fire on that SDE album.
So how many I see you did a lot of work with a lot of different artists that's popping, you know, like you was in the beginning of their career. Now how many could you name a few of the artists that you work with in a row so the viewers can you know who you've been working with?
Oh, that I worked with throughout my career?
Yeah, I mean back then, like when you said DMX, you said Jay-Z. Just give us a list of some of the people you work with.
Oh wow. So yeah, at that time, like definitely Jay-Z, Usher, Destiny's Child and Beyonce, Wyclef, shit, Noriega, you know, Capone Noriega. I mean, damn. I said Jay-Z. I'm in my studio now trying to look at Busta Rhymes, Ghostface. You know, I got records. Of course, my biggest record, probably, I mean, well, it's definitely my biggest record, and my most classic record is my 50 Cent Many Men record. So,
Okay.
that's my biggest hit. That's like at 13, 14 million records sold right now. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you said what?
How that came about? You and 50 working together?
50 at that time. This is like around 97, 98. He wasn't signed, and you know, at that time, you know, niggas was in the studio, like really making records inside a physical studio. So, you know, people would come around, go to the Hit Factory or whatever. So he used to come to the office. I think he knew and he knew the track masters. And one day, I think the track masters was in the studio, and that's when I met him. And everything was cool, you know. Like met him, came to the office one day, and pretty much we just started exchanging numbers and you know exchanging tracks. One day, I think I actually sold I sold the Many Men beat to Nas first, and Nas was working on it for his album, and 50 came to a session because again, like I said, you know, people used to always just run up in sessions, and he ran up in Nas session one day, heard the beat, he liked it, and he called me. He got a copy of the beat from the A&R because he liked the beat so much. He called me and said, yo, you know, when I get my deal, you know what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, to take it back a little further, he actually called me when he got shot. So when he got shot 9 times, he went to Pennsylvania to heal up, and he called me even from Pennsylvania and was like, "Yo, I got this beat from Lenny Nicholson, blah blah blah. Yo, when I get my deal, yo, I want to use it." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." You know what I'm saying? At that time, you know, he has no deal. He's shot, healing up. I'm not thinking he gonna use the beat, but sure, lo and behold, that's exactly how it happened. Like
This man
literally,
got shot 9 times, man. He got shot 9 times.
he got shot 9 times.
Still think about that beat, huh?
Yeah, still thinking about the beat.
Career now, man. He got
so that beat, think safe to say was like 4 or 5 years old when he actually brought it out then, right?
Yeah, I mean that was one of the first Dipset beats that we was working on. I still got a Dipset song to that same beat with Cam and Jewels and Jim on that song. it's a Dipset version of the song, and then I sold the beat to Nas, and Nas did like one verse on it. He never finished it, but he did a version of the song, and then 50 got the beat, and the rest is history. Now 20-something years later, like it's a classic. It's still out there to this day. And that's how it happened.
So people, if y'all want to ask some questions, y'all could call. But somebody wanted me to elaborate on what did you want it? You said y'all had difference of the way you want the company to run. What way you want the company or your vision of you want the move to Dipset with? If y'all have questions, y'all can call and ask them also.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was just, more of I mean, for the lack of a better word, like I knew that, that there were certain things that we had to do, you know what I'm saying, and to way to operate, in order to make things happen. You know what I mean? Like trying to get a deal. Like we was getting offers. Like I remember we got an offer from Atlantic Records for like $2 million, and we didn't even have any artists. You know what I mean? So at that time, I think at that time I wanted to actually take the deal, and Cam didn't. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, like you bugging, nigga. Like we was just, trying to get money up for tokens. We was on the M7 bus. You know what I'm saying? And now, you like, yo, nah, we could get more. And I get that, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it's all business. It's all water under the bridge now. But I'm just saying that, that's just one of the examples of certain things that I was like, yo, we could take this money right now and think about what we're going to do later. You know what I mean? And so that was just one example. And again, the Dipset stuff, you see, like, that happened after a lot of grassroots too. You know what I mean? Like, K Slay and putting, a lot of stuff on the, putting a lot of music on the streets and building the Dipset up too. And they did a great job at that as well. So I'm not saying that my way was better, but I also know that I had certain feelings about things, and he did too. So.
But that wasn't the only. Y'all ain't walked your own way after that incident, right? It was like other things, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, me and Cam knew each other since we were 6 years old. Like literally, first time he ever did music, it was at my house. Like I still got tapes when we was 12 years old rapping. You know what I'm saying? So like my shit is like, honestly deeper than that, like deeper than the industry shit. You know what I mean? Like this is what we did together. You know what I'm saying? So, things happen.
Yeah, as you get older, sometimes you grow apart. But just like you say, you used to get him off the basketball court to get him to go in the studio with you when y'all was
right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure he'll say that about me too. He'll say, yeah, Digga, you the quiet one. Like I helped you out because I'm out here rapping, and I told everybody that you made beats. It's true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's vice versa. Like we shared the success together. You know what I'm saying? So it's no hard feelings on that.
So y'all shared success together, but y'all went two different directions. He's a successful rapper, actor, and you're a successful music producer, entertainer.
No, absolutely. Like even during the time, like when Dipset was really taking off and popping, like from my perspective, I'm like, first of all, I helped start that movement, right? So I'm proud of them because I helped start it, and that was my vision. But also on the left, I was still making music. I produced 2 songs with Jay-Z at that time. I was on Jay-Z's two of Jay-Z's albums. I produced Many Men for 50 Cent at that time. I produced Can't Stop, Won't Stop by the Young Guns, which was a top 40 song, all at that time. You know what I mean? So I was still rocking. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it like, I'm got my beats out, and I helped start this movement. So it wasn't like I was like separate.
Right.
It's like the dude that went on that started Microsoft with Bill Gates. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody hear about Bill Gates, but there was another nigga that helped start it with him.
Right.
So So originally just you and Cam, and then Jim and Duke the God came later, right?
Well, yeah, we was all together, like, but like, you know how it go. Like when stuff start forming, everything start getting real serious, and everybody try to figure out what role they play. You know what I mean? And like me and Cam though was the nucleus of all of this music shit. Like Jim didn't rap at all. Like,
Yeah, he did.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I remember.
So he definitely grinded his way up to everything that he got. He earned everything because he didn't rap.
He
You know what
did.
I'm saying? So when you think about a nigga that didn't even rap to being Jim Jones, he did great for himself.
Yeah, he did
I
great, and
agree.
he turned out not to be a bad rapper at all. If you ask me,
Right,
you
right,
know,
definitely.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
so the Dipset team increased a little bit. Let's talk about Hell Rell and Jules Santana.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Hellrell, I actually never even met Hellrell. Like after that, I was pretty much going from the Dipset movement. But with Jewels, he was probably the first artist that joined Dipset like as an artist, like outside of Jim. Like Jim was always there, but Jim wasn't necessarily going to be a rapper. Like we didn't have the vision of him being an actual artist at the time. We were looking for artists, and so I would say Jewels was like the first artist that we was like, you know what? He's gonna be the artist that's gonna be under Diplomat's records or whatever. You know what I mean? But like I told you about the concept of the diplomats being representing each states, but as you can see, they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They kind of just formed diplomats as a group, which was, you know, Freaky Zeke, Cam, Jewels, and Jim as a group. You know what I mean? So definitely Jewels, you know, I remember he was like young. And Jewels, a lot of people, I don't know if they know, but Jewels was like signed. Jewels was in a group called Draft Pick with another dude in a duo when he was 16, 15, 16, and they had a deal with Priority Records. He had a record deal before we did,
Hmm.
you know, and like as a little young dude, but it ain't work out. And actually this kid that we used to go to school with, his name was Tashawn. That Tashawn was Jewel's cousin. And he's the one that actually told us about Jewel. Said, yo, you know, this little nigga, he nice. And I was supposed to actually produce Jewel's group Draft Pick before he was even with Dipset. They was trying to hire me to do beats for them. So it all came full circle anyway.
Okay, that's what's up. So let me ask you a question. So you said like your mom's, she the one like every year she
Right,
added something to your studio.
right.
So, how does your mom feel about your career today?
She felt good. Like my mom's passed away in 2017, but she definitely seen I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my number one fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she seen it. You know, I definitely got the support from my family. You know, like I said, Al Cash he's the one that pretty much started me in this, along with my grandfather giving me the support, and then my mom's she gave me the support financially of, you know, supporting my dreams, you know, and everybody else in my family, you know, as well, you know, just supporting what I was trying to do.
Yeah, so that's big right there. So now you putting yourself and you got your own company. You selecting artists. Now you exclusively the head of your own company, uh
Mm-hmm.
uh Six Figures, right?
Yeah.
Now what was your vision for your company? Like what type of artist, what you was looking for, what type of sound, you know, how you brought that together.
Yeah, like so back then, of course, like I was you know, just looking at excuse me, some of the greats before me, you know what I mean? So obviously I'm looking at, you know, the producer run labels. So I'm looking at Diddy, excuse me, how he did Bad Boy, Track Masters at the time had a deal. So yeah, I wanted to be my vision has, and it still is today. Like I wanted to do like a full label with just genuine artists, different genres of music, of course hip hop and R&B, and branch into, to some jazz. Like even today, like Afro beats, whatever it is, I want to have a well-rounded label because for me as a producer, if you're a good producer, you can make hits. You can make the right music. It doesn't matter what genre it is. You know what sound good, and you know how to bring people to that point. So even if I can't physically play the stuff I need to be played, I can go get somebody else and know what decisions need to be made to make that record a success.
Who's one of the favorite artists you ever worked with?
Favorite?
Like with the whole vibe, just everything,
Right. I mean, of course, like, I probably have to say Cam because he's the one that I work closely with, and
besides Cam, because I don't, y'all like, y'all grew up together, but like,
Oh, okay. So outside of that, I would say that's a real good question. The who the craziest it sound, and it might not be that popular, but I worked with Camp Low.
Yeah, I know Camp Low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And his song Poppin'. He had that song. You did that joint?
Which one? I got a new song on my album with Camp Low too, as well. But yeah, like I did a lot of songs with Camp Low. Some of them never been released, but as far as like working with them, I genuinely liked them, and I liked the vibe that we was coming up with. You know what I mean? As artists, but typically, like I work with a lot of artists, and you don't get a chance to really truly bond with them how you need to, because they kind of hiring you to do your Figga Digga thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tough. Like even working with Jay-Z and stuff, like, I mean, I work with him, but it's all true. Like all of the things that you hear about Jay-Z working and recording in the studio is all true. Like he like literally sits there and listens to the beat the whole time, and he ain't doing nothing. And then he'll just jump up and go in the mic booth and then spit the song out. You know what I mean? So it ain't much work, you know what I mean, for me to do with that.
Once you put that track together, the rest is history, huh?
Yeah, like with him, working with him, 50, a lot of experienced artists have the experience and they know what to really do. Some artists, like even I work with Jennifer Lopez too, that's different. She was more structured. We had to have people in there helping her and coaching her to record her stuff. You know what I mean? So just
let's get to that story. Like, J-Lo, a lot of people when they saw the title, they's like J-Lo, they want to know how that experience, how it come about. And you said it was real professional. Can you go into that song?
Yeah, well, with that story, I did a song on her first album called Open Off My Love. And that was like, that's crazy because it's, at that time when I was making tracks and, I was in factory mode, what I call it. I'm just making beats, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just making beats and just putting them to the side. I don't even know where they're going, just putting them to the side. So really one day or one night she came, we was working in a Hit Factory studio. She came in the studio one day. Like I said, people was dropping in the studios at that time. And, they put me on the spot. So I had to play some beats, and I had this one joint that had this Spanish sample in it. And she just loved it. As soon as I threw it on, she just loved it. Like, yo, I need that. Get his information. We're gonna go to the studio. And then maybe a week later, went down to the studio with her in Sony Studios, and it was me and her. And I don't know if y'all familiar with the singer Betty Wright, the old
Betty Wright, living legend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Betty Wright. So it was me, Jennifer Lopez, and Betty Wright in the studio, and the engineer. and Betty Wright was the one pretty much schooling her how to sing like every line.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a hell of a story right
That's
there,
a hell
man.
of a story. Y'all hear that, people?
That's a
Yeah.
hell of a story. And a lot of
Brother,
people,
let him
I
finish.
see, I heard you mention Hit Factory quite a few times. For the
Right.
people that's from out of town, Hit Factory is one of the biggest studios in New York City, where there's a lot of people like, to name a few, Michael Jackson and Madonna
Right.
walk that path, you know. So he's in a real big studio doing some big things, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, that I'm glad you spoke on that, because that, you know, for the people, like, you know, now we're in a different era. You know, people making music out of their bedrooms in their house, you know, but then just the experience of being in a big studio and you got a big, you know, console in front of you, and then you got the artist looking at you, you know, a lot of that shit, you know, like thinking back on it now, I'll be reflecting. I was like, yo, like I was fearless, because I ain't think about none of that shit at that time. You know what I mean? I was just I was just doing the work. Like usually you think people like, yo, you thinking, damn, like kind of starstruck, but I really wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
go ahead.
to get back on it, because I didn't want to skip past that.
Mm-hmm.
You said Betty Wright, and people definitely need to get their proper, you know, respect.
Mm-hmm.
They brought Betty Wright in, and you said she helped them line by line, and this is stuff people don't know.
Yeah, line, literally, like line by line. You know, I mean, and again, it sounds crazy, but it's not. This is what happens. You know, like that's what we call vocal production. You know, like if you have a skilled producer, they should know how to do that. You know what I mean? Like just because you lay the beat down, now you have to make the best performance on the actual song. You just like that's what a lot of younger artists that I see today, because of the technology, you can set up your mic and then they're like, yo, let's go record. And then they just record anything that come to mind, and then they should be sounding like trash, and they don't understand why, because they're not thinking about the best performance that you got to put, the best performance that you're recording. You know what I mean? Because that's what people are going to actually hear is the performance. So in order to do that, it may take you going line to line and somebody saying, yo, say it like this every single line, you know, and that's kind of what she did. So it wasn't a bad thing, but you know, of course, you know, J-Lo's more of a dancer than a singer.
Right, everybody know J Lo. I got to give her credit, because J Lo is a woman who, like, she's a hustler, man. You know,
Yeah,
she like, she started dancing and she ventured off into acting, and then she wants to start singing. Well, she's not really a hell of a singer, but she made some pretty good records. But
right,
so what's the comparisons? My question is that you said you work with guys like Jay-Z and you
right,
work with 50, and
right,
Jay-Z just listen to the track, hear the track, and go straight into the booth and lay
right,
it down real quick. Whereas the J Lo had to get Betty Wright
right.
and go line by line
Hmm.
to get her vocals together.
Right.
So
Yeah.
one job was easy, another job was a little bit more work. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, and again, that's the experience. Like, no, and you know, even working with Jay-Z is not like, you know, I was just sitting there just watching them, but at the same time, like I think the point that I think you're getting at is sometimes you got to be able to know, you know, it's a different kind of skill set. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
going in and you working with different artists, so some artists may need different things, or you may need to know how to tell them that shit is whack or it's good. You know what I'm saying? At a certain time, you know, that's really keeping it real. Like I work with tons of artists, and I told, like, even Jay-Z, like I told you, nah, I think you need to do that over. And it's not in a bad way, but it's an honest way, because that's the best way to move, is to be honest. You know what I mean? Like none of that clout chasing, none of that celebrating and like, yo, everything somebody do is hot. Like, especially as a producer, that's not what they pay you to do. They
Mhm.
paying you to make the best shit. So if you got to tell somebody to do it over, you got to do it over.
So this new thing, how you feel about that? Because you talked about you had fun working with Camp Low. I guess being together, the vibe was good. How you feel about the new thing now, where artists you could just send your beat and y'all not in the studio together. He put his verse. He could be in New York. This guy could be in Atlanta. How you
Yeah.
feel about that? How you feel about that?
I mean, on one hand, it's convenient, as far as the access, like, because you can get stuff done a little bit faster sometimes like that because people is comfortable, like if they in their house and they got a studio set up and I got my setup, then I can kind of throw stuff back and forth and then limit the time of sitting together and not coming up with something. Because sometimes you might need to like sit with it sometimes. Like it may not work. You may be in the studio all day and you just may not be feeling it. So that's the good part. But the bad part is you can't really guide me as a producer. I can't guide the artist like I need to. Usually it's I'm gonna send you this beat and then they take the music and then they pretty much do whatever comes to mind or do whatever they think is right, but I don't have any input on that, and then they just send it back in kind of like an unfinished form. But then, I probably could have helped them, throughout the process, but instead they kind of already went with their process, and now it's kind of I'm in a position to say yes or no. So yeah, it's kind of tough, especially coming from where I come from. But like I said again, it's the technology, and it's convenient because I released the album in November called Person of Interest, and a lot of it was done that way. Might have did 2 songs that I was like physically in the studio with the artist, but I wasn't. It's pretty much getting verses for artists, and I got people on there. I got Raekwon, Jim Jones on there, Camp Lowe's on there, Vado, Davies, Lloyd Banks. All of that shit was done via email.
Mm-hmm.
So
now that I'm listening to your story, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to take the role as a rapper or the role as a producer, I probably would take the producer role because the producer's behind the scene and he gets to work with a lot of different artists. You know what I'm saying? And I think he get a little more longevity. You know what I'm saying?
Longevity.
Than
Right.
a rapper or a singer. Because somewhere along the line, a singer or rapper, they fade.
And you ain't getting to no drama.
Correct.
All that rap beef and that
right. And you just can't count your money.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, kudos to your family. Like your uncle, I think he tell you it's better play behind the scenes when you was a young dude.
Nah, definitely. I mean, that's where it's at, and even like you said, the longevity part is a factor. Like, cause like professionally, I say I started doing this in '95. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still here in 2024, and I could still do the music, and nobody will never know. Like they don't know. I can literally
no factor in that.
Yeah, I can change my name. It's all about the music.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But when you're an artist, you got to deal with life. You got to deal with gravity, getting older. You're getting a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All of that.
And they give everybody like a cutoff point. Like when you get like 40 or something like that. Maybe I guess like, well, R&B, you can go long. With rap, they cut you off at 40.
Yeah, man.
Well, producing is easier because, like he said, he's sending it
out. No, I'm just saying, producer can go
rapping, you waiting on the deal.
Producer can go 100 years.
You got to promote.
But a rapper, singer, they got a cutoff point.
You doing all the promotion, trying to promote, and you got to look for a deal. Hopefully, you negotiating the beat. Yo, this and that is right there.
Yeah, rappers like being an athlete, man. Basketball player, football player. You're like, they consider them old as a rap for them. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm trying to be a spearheader and trying to change that narrative because I feel like, that's true, but sometimes we got to come to reality too. Like the artists and the producers are getting older, and the fans are getting older too.
Right.
But the fans want to hear They want to hear the the older artists, they just need newer music. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
for me, like I don't know if y'all feel the same, but like when I want to listen to some shit, like I'm always going back to listen to old shit. Like I'm going to listen to throwbacks. I'm going to listen to old hip hop all the time or whatever. Shit that I like. And I feel like some of the older artists just need to come back outside, but still make the same shit that they used to make for their fan base. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's still an opportunity there. You know what I'm saying? Like some hip hop contemporary. You know what I mean? Like niggas is still out here wanting music. Like I don't want to listen to the same shit my kids listen to.
Right, but you know what? You just made a good point. When you get older, your fans get older with you.
Right.
Why can't us still make some music? You know what I'm saying, that they can relate to, because we all came up together.
Right.
You know, well, I got to listen to these subject to these young dudes, and you know, nothing against their music, but I can't understand half the shit they be rapping about.
Right. But that's our fault. That's our fault as the older artists that's still here, because we feel like, oh nah, we getting older, so niggas ain't really fucking with us now. They don't want to hear this shit. But that's not true. They just want to hear new shit. You know what I mean? And we just gotta put it out there. That's why like Nas has still success, you know, putting out albums, because he still sound like Nas. He just putting out new music. Instead of going back to Illmatic, he got newer music. That's all he doing. You know?
Yeah, I think it's all a stereotype too, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's a stereotype with the rappers that somebody need to break that cycle, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
If a singer can sing forever, why a rapper can't rap forever, man? Right? It's all music.
It's a stereotype.
Music's a stereotype, and dudes is following the trend. Somebody got to break that cycle, man, because you're right. You know, when I want to hear music, whether it's rap or R&B, I get pleasure hearing like a Biggie or Nas, you know what I'm saying, or old Jones, you know, because, you know, I remember the time when that's a feel good rap. It's rap right now, but it ain't drill. It's dirty South, you know.
But see, the thing with people,
it's all
saying,
about the beats.
Why they feel that way? Because they said, let's say you older, let's say somebody 50. You can't be talking about selling. You look crazy talking about hustling.
But you
don't have to. But it's like you limited. You can't. Really
you're not limited.
No,
you're not limited.
Really talk about, oh, I'm getting money. This, that,
you're not limited. You're not limited.
On the block.
Let me tell you why you're not limited. Let me tell you why. Right. Let me tell you why you're not limited. You're not limited because you got rappers like Common and other dudes who got conscious rap. It ain't got nothing to hold up. It ain't got nothing to do with cars and clothes and hoes. It got something to do with regular life, the community stuff, what's going on in the community, how black people get united. Let's stick together. Why you can't rap about that?
Them, it's crazy. Huh? If you was a certain,
but you got to change your style with your age.
But it'd be hard for that transition.
It ain't hard. It ain't hard. The way you think. No, I understand where you're coming from, but it's a stereotype. It's a stereotype. You say it's hard, so it's gonna be hard. Whatever you put in the universe, it's gonna come to existence. You got to say, yo, I'm gonna keep doing. I'm gonna rap for the people of that came up with me, right? And I'm gonna give them the stuff that we doing as grown folk. I'm gonna give grown folk rap. I'm gonna rap about what's going on right now, and
right.
You know, what I'm hoping to happen tomorrow. Why I gotta rap young? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you like, I mean, to your point, like it's just the topics. Like we getting older, and we still dealing with the shit that we dealing with when we getting older. But if you could rap that shit in a cool way, then I want to hear that shit. Right. You know what I mean? That's all you got to do.
I mean, behind it's gonna go platinum.
Right. You just got to do it. You got to do it right. Like that's where the artists. I think some of the artists are scared because they thinking that it's gonna be corny. It's not gonna be corny, man. Like I want to hear that shit. You know,
it's a stereotype, Digga. It's been a stereotype for a long time. With Jay-Z said his last thing, and he said he was dropping the mic, and when I'm gone, y'all gonna miss me. So whatever he said, something like that. People think that, you know, one day he's 40 years old, he's still rapping.
Nah. We good. We could
come out with an album right now. I guarantee it smash all these dudes, man.
Right.
Because his rap game is phenomenal, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah.
But so what you got going on that you got coming out that the people who don't know about?
Yeah, so like I said, I got my album, Person of Interest. Y'all could check that out. It's online everywhere. And I also am finishing up another album. It's actually an R&B album called The Whisper. It's got about 9 songs on it, and it's like I call it like it's inspired by the 80s and the 90s as far as the beats wise. You know what I mean? Like I just had them visions like in Harlem, like kind of like the Willie Burgers type era, or the Grant's Tomb era, shit like that. You know what I mean?
84 era.
Yeah, so the music and the beats sound like that, but it's R&B. You know what I mean? Something that you could, put in your ride and chill. And I'm got a lot of artists featured. Well, just all new artists on there for the most part. But I think everybody's gonna like it. So I'm about to launch that, and then I got another album. I mean, I'm just gonna start putting out new music. I'm working with a lot of artists now, working on my next album, which is called The Ghost of Giovanni, which is that's gonna have more of features some artists, that you may know again. But yeah, just trying to put out my music and really just putting out music through my own shit right now, because the music industry has changed to the point like I'm not like I'm working with a lot of people, like people want tracks and different, artists, but I ain't out here chasing none of these artists, man, because I can make more money and feel better about my music when I do it myself instead of trying to chase another artist that's not really, may not even put the record out at this time. So that's where I'm at.
So when you said you putting out records, you mean far as you rapping, or you just producing?
Yeah, all producing. I'm making all the beats, and then I'm having artists feature on it for sure.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I ain't rapping, but they're gonna be under my name, Figga Digga, featuring whoever it is.
Oh, okay. That's why I was wondering when you said you doing everything yourself. I thought that you was behind that mic.
Nah. I retired that like in the 80s.
So if the down south rapper come to you and he wants to track, you know how to do like southern type beats?
Oh yeah. Like I mean, I got some joints. Like yeah, man. That's one of the things that really trying to focus on with the stuff that I'm putting out is really showing my versatility as well, right? So that's why I'm doing this R&B album, because people ain't going to expect me to actually have no R&B beats. Like if I did all of this shit with Cam and Jay and Many Men and all of that, and then you're gonna hear my R&B shit. People gonna be shocked that I actually could do that. You know what I mean? And as far as like the down south joints, I got a few artists that I'm working with now. This kid named Big A Prado, he's from Atlanta. Another dude named Auburn Ave Zay. So that's why I want to just show my production versatility as well.
Yeah, that's big, because like we used to, the type of beats, you done so far. Now you're doing southern type, that type of bang they like, West Coast. But it definitely shows a lot of versatility, and it take you a long way.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Digga, let me ask you a question. So,
yeah.
Would you credit? You say you putting out your own music now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would you credit the streaming platform? Because see, back in the 95, 98 and all that time when you put out these things for Jay and 50 and all that, it's harder to get your music out. You had to go to a major label. But being that you could put your own music out on streaming platforms and you got the social media, would you credit that to your success of today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I never like going through what I went through. I mean, it's like everything else. Like when I don't want to say the hard way, but like just having the less technology, right? So when I was making my beats, I ain't have all of the shit that I can do right now. You know what I mean? But that made me better because now I understand how things are structured, and even putting music out, like a lot of the artists that I work with, like I physically sold those records. You know what I'm saying? So like I in my career, I think I'm up at like 50, 60 million records sold. You know what I mean? So these records was like CDs and records. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
So good looking. So Now, you know, it's a different game. The streaming game is different. You know what I mean? The number game is different. So it is what it is. But, you know, I'm adapting to it.
So if a person wanted to get in touch with you and they wanted to get some music, how would they find you?
Yeah, definitely hit me up on my IG page, Figga_Digga, or you could just go to sixfigga.com. That's SIXFIGGA.com. Not six figure, six figure.
There it is.
FIGGA.
I want to ask you another question. What advice you have for a new up and coming producer who wants to make it into today's game music?
One of the main things that I would say is to kind of even do what I'm doing right now. But if you're a producer and you're trying to get your beats out there, you got to demonstrate your production skills. And the best way to do that is to work with like one artist that you can really make sound good. Like trying to spread your beats out there to everybody. Everybody's doing beats right now, so you're gonna get lost in the sauce. But if you could get one artist that you could work with, and you can really show that, like, I did a mixtape or a project with this artist, and there's like 9-10 songs, and you did all of them, and they all fire, then that'll take you a longer way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I did even with my career. Like that's how I started. Like I produced all of Cam's shit. You know what I'm saying? So people knew like. I ain't just do one record. I did mostly all this shit. You know what I mean? So when they hear it, they like, yo, damn, he did this song and then he went from that song. So they trusted me. So that's the same thing younger artists need to do is just get somebody that you could build with that's nice and just keep on putting music because eventually somebody's going to hear it. Then they're going to ask who did the beats. And then from there, it's whatever.
That's smart, man. That's definitely that's a good question. That's definitely smart, man. I definitely appreciate you, man, because I definitely gotta get you up here.
Yeah.
Through, man. I'm so happy right now, man, because we really want to show what this about. How we really.
I know.
We really want to show what this Harlem thing about. You know, we Harlem don't have everybody, so
right.
We just picking off everybody. Definitely, man. I definitely appreciate you, man. You 100
word
came through, man, and this is great. People so excited to see you up here, man.
Yeah, definitely.
With doctors talking about, you know, beat 139. We straight Harlem. You know, we all born in Harlem, raised in Harlem.
Facts.
You know, we grew up in these Harlem streets. You know, we deal with just like you though. You know, we got a diplomat type of style, whereas we deal with people all over the country and internationally as well. But we have to represent our Harlem community big time. And for you to come on the show tonight, you know, another representative of Harlem, we really appreciate it for real, brother. You know,
thank you, man.
For a lot of people out here that he just named tonight, you know. So remember that name, Figga Digga. But hear me out. But before you go,
yeah,
I'm being that you came on the show. Can you tell them what's the #1 Harlem show?
Of course, the beat 139, nigga.
Okay.
You already know.
Thank you, Digga, for coming to the show.
All right.
Good evening, brother, and we're gonna get back at you at another time.
All right. Thanks, man.
Man. We definitely
100%
close, man.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Harlem's #1 show.